Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I and still am scientifically oriented, and although I'd always had a side that was so drawn to nature, I was very much in the material and rational minds.
When you did you mention what kind of a teacher you were?
I was a biology teacher, psychology and anthropology, or global studies.
And what age group did you teach?
I taught 9th through 12th.
Oh, okay, that's serious. So that's some very serious biology and anthropology.
Yeah, well.
So this is a huge transition.
Yes, but I hadn't made the transition yet. I was still teaching when this was happening, actually. So I was going through. I would go, and I was, I was really being booted out. I was not being allowed to continue. That was why I was having all the anxiety and everything to begin with. That sent me to the counselor, because my soul, I had a mission, I had to get on the ball.
I call it a purpose.
A purpose.
You found your purpose.
Yes.
Or at least the delivery of the purpose was on its way.
Yeah, so what happened? So you're going to edit these, right? They've got to be edited.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, so what happened? So I started receiving information from the bees, some of it of a spiritual nature, some of it of a prophetic, maybe, what's happening in nature. Now what I think of as like the 2012 prophecies and things about coming changes in human consciousness, and some of that was from the bees. And so that's something I'd be interested in talking about.
Now, did you get revelations like in your dreams from the bees, or in communication?
It was typically during meditation, during that, either like a spinning or.
So you were conscious and awake. You weren't sleeping, dreaming.
No, I'm more like a trance state.
Mm-hmm.
I have had some very significant dreams as well. I often dream about bees. Regularly dream about bees, but there was only one particular vision that I had during that, maybe that 2 or 3 year period, 1999 to 2001, where I was like awake and standing up and not trying to enter into a different state of consciousness,
Sometimes those are the best.
Some were of this ancient history, spiritual nature. Some were of coming times, changes, nature, and some were of the bees themselves and what was going on with the bees, what was happening with the bees. And so at some point, early after they came, maybe a year, they told me that they were sick. Well, not really sick, but they showed me what was going on with them, and that they were no longer interested in carrying on under certain conditions. This was in maybe 2000. The swarm came. I started receiving information in 1999, and but that they would be leaving us, or becoming too difficult to work with. That the association between humans and honeybees, which went back into those ancient times, earliest civilizations, was no longer. They weren't interested in that, working for us like that under those conditions. So we had gone from a totally symbiotic relationship where there was a reverence for bees as aspects of divinity, to a slavery type of situation where, and the first thing they said was, when I asked, well, in addition to all the pesticides and so on, there is a layer of human thought form around the earth. And they are able to, bees are working in other dimensions. They're working in the quantum field, the pre-manifest field. They're interacting with that. And that's been shown scientifically. But, so for them, our thoughts are real. They have the power to manifest our thoughts into reality, or our thoughts give them power. They can use it. So when we would give them love and reverence and reflect to them a glorious divine being, that's what they were. And when we reflect to them that they're slaves, that's what they're becoming. So it's almost like, they said in ancient times we'd receive love from people, and that was what we used. That was our payback for all the work we do. The medicine we provide, the pollination of the gardens, and that was that was the reciprocation. Was the love and reverence that we gave to them.
I get the impression then that bees have just found a place to draw the line. He said, we're not going to stoop any lower than this point. We can't cooperate with the bad attitudes of mankind, their disrespect, or their selfishness.
It's almost just like humans don't realize that they're creating it. We don't realize we're creating it with our thoughts. So now what is reflected back to them, instead of love and, oh, you divine, healthy, radiant, solar deity, life-giving, fertility-bearing earth, bountifying life force, embodiment of the life force, of the feminine, that's what we would reflect back to them. And now, they said most people, in that thick layer of human thought form that surrounds the earth, what is reflected to them is dislike. People dislike bugs in general. They think they should all be just killed because they're ugly in their eyes. Or, so we have a mental, first of all, real prejudice against insects. And then secondly, bees, because they sting. So people there's fear, there's dislike. Keep away from me, that kind of thing. Not in my house. And people don't know that that's actually a manufactured dislike, because throughout ancient history, particularly European history, people had nooks in their kitchen walls. They had beehives in their kitchen walls. They could open up.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Bees were always with us, and they love us, and they want to be with us. Mm. That's why all the hives that are right up next to my walls are the ones that are they're, look at that.
But they like to be around humans
kind of
that are friendly. Yeah, that's amazing. How often do you see, well, of course I've never seen anything like that before.
We've been seeing more, every so often I would see a hive that was completely out in the open, not in the cavity of a tree or in somebody's wall or something, but
well, you mentioned that
it's happening more now because of the hive beetles.
Well, I wonder if the hive beetles don't like the sunlight.
They like dark.
Yeah, because they were hiding in that box outside. So yeah, that would discourage them if they're exposed like that.
So one of the things, another major aspect that I was, told from the bees in 1999 was that when I asked them why they were not getting sick, why they weren't doing well, they said it was stop raping the queens, stop killing the queens, and not being a beekeeper, because I was getting a lot of information about bees and I didn't know anything about bees. I was not a beekeeper. I was, so I didn't know at the time that most beekeepers are taught, conventional beekeepers and particularly commercial beekeepers, which is the majority of beekeepers these days, actually kill their queens after a year or maybe 2 years because they're not productive anymore. and or not as productive as a young queen. And then a lot of them are being replaced. Before, people used to buy them, but now as colony collapse started and people started getting really heavy losses of bees, it's a necessity. I don't think people are killing their queens as much anymore because a lot of the bees, you know, if a beekeeper loses 80% of his hives in the winter or 60% of his hives, I can't imagine that he would kill any of the survivors, you know. But he's but
We'll start on